What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we're going to be going through the much anticipated June Dev Blog. So let's not waste any time. There's so much to cover and it's really exciting. So let's get straight into it. So for the intro, I'm just going to summarize it real quick. And essentially he just says that June was one of those months that it was quiet on the outside for us, but it was pretty hectic for them inside. Just obviously they've got a lot of things to do. And he kind of just mentions that us as the community have gotten, essentially he says it very nicely, but just pretty spoiled. When they go into lockdown mode and we don't get as much information, that we think that nothing is happening. But we know there's a lot of things that they're working on. Illuvitars, Illuvium 0, Private Beta 2, Overworld, just the game in general. Like there's a lot that they're doing. So this little bit here, I'm actually really happy about. It says that they've committed to reducing the number of projects that they're focusing on. And I think that's going to be really good, because if they spread themselves out too thin, it's hard for them to really give us detailed information on what's happening. If they're able to focus in on something, they're able to make more headspace. They're going to get further ahead and give us more details as that progresses. I like the idea of sniping in and really focusing on one project or maybe two projects and really giving it your all. I think getting it done one at a time seems to be the go-to play from here. He then talks about the Forge and how they did a lot with the Forge. It came out of left field. Those conspiracies that went through, conspiracies about the team wanting to sell and the founders wanting to dump, that just wasn't true. So anyway, he just mentions that he knows that the community were against it, or at least some of the community, and they're going back and readjusting, which I'm for that. So let's just get into the actual meats and potatoes of this. And now we're looking at the Illuvium Arena, and there is a lot to break down here. For Illuvium Arena, the main takeaway from that paragraph that he puts out is that PB2 was taking longer than expected. And he goes into more detail of that in the rest of the paragraph, talking about the AI system that they're trying to build, which is going to future-proof them and everything else, just to make things more efficient, taking away the need for human code and just building up that kind of self-sustaining system, lowering cost. And this is just a lot more detail that he goes into. But that's really the core reason that he's mentioning here of why PB2 is taking longer than they first expected. So let's get into the fun stuff, the actual highlights of Illuvium Arena. So right here, I'm going to go through them one by one. The combat engine will continuously improve, but we are close to version 1.0. I'm assuming 1.0 means 1.0 of the public beta that they're going to be putting out. So the first official combat engine that they want to get to, they're almost there, which is really cool. So this one right here, the second point is massive. Survival mode rules are all completed, including checkpoints, interest, and drone health. The third one, related, drone health will probably be a later patch. It's working on the client, but it could be a casualty on the server. So that's fine. I'm not actually too interested in the drone health, but the other two are massive. Checkpoints. Vulcan. If you are watching, Vulcan is going to love this, man, because I know that he's just been waiting for checkpoints to actually play the game more often. And I'm absolutely with him. The time commitment was insane. But so checkpoints is going to be huge. And this interest, I think people are sleeping on this. So interest essentially means you're gonna have the mastery points in the game and you can choose to spend them all or spend less than what you have to try and be as efficient as possible. The more efficient you are, the more interest the game will give you. So let's say you have 100 mastery points, but you only spend 50 next round. Instead of getting the standard 25 extra mastery points, you're gonna be given maybe 30 or I don't know the numbers, I'm making it up, but because you didn't spend them all, you're actually going to get more mastery points, which I think is going to be really good to scale in the game. So if you can be really efficient early game, you can actually scale your team up for the rest of the run, which I'm so excited to see how interest comes into it and how people start to really think efficiently and more strategically. So that's a huge deal. Augments. Man, have we been waiting for augments. There's going to be so many interesting augments. There's going to be defensive augments, supportive augments, offensive augments, and it's going to be very interesting. Maybe you can tank more. Maybe it neutralizes someone's Omega. It's just going to be very fascinating. I think, again, the game is already pretty deep with 20 Alluvials. Now adding on augments and kind of playing to their strengths and bringing out the best of each Alluvial is going to be next level. Like the level of gameplay, the level of strategy is just insane. And this is for a beta. It's wild. This one, yo guys, I'm losing my mind. This is all in the first little part of the arena. Like these are the highlights. It's insane. Bonding. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually understand what this meant first off. So a huge thank you to Zeptal, who kind of brought it to my attention and really explained it to me. But okay, a simple mechanic with such a complex ramifications. Pick an alluvial and bam, your ranger now has a class and an infinity upgrade. Essentially, for those of you guys that don't know what this means, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have a ranger out there with your water sword. So the water sword gives it a water affinity and a fighter class. Now you have a Ramphy on the board. If you bond them together, Ramphy is a fire rogue. So now you combine the fire rogue to your water fighter and it becomes a steam slayer, which is nuts. So now essentially for all the composites, you're able to make it a spore, you're able to make it your ranger a spore, a steam, a granite, like you can do, which has 4 seconds of invulnerability. Like the possibilities are so crazy. Like it's wild. The possibilities. So bonding, again, pretty much everything they're adding is just adding an insane amount of complexity. Everything that they're adding isn't actually going to change the skill floor at all. But what it's going to do is increase the skill ceiling. So to play the game is still very basic. You can do it and pick it up and figure it out. But the skill ceiling now is just going to be higher and higher and higher. And people are really, really going to start to get into it, study it, figure out these things. And I'm for it, guys. I'm looking forward to this shit. Yo, guys, we've looked at the survival mode rules, augments, and bonding, and I've lost my mind. Like, this is crazy. The next thing that he talks about is about a better server and client paradigm. So I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I'm assuming it means the server that we're playing on, like the crashes that we've been getting, dealing with that. I know recently we've had quite a few people complain about ridiculous amounts of crashes. Like, I think someone said like 4 or 5 crashes in an hour, which is absurd. I've only ever had 4 crashes, so I've been pretty lucky. But anything to kind of make that user experience better is no one's going to complain about that, right? Like, that's exactly what we want. The next thing down the line is the red panda. So a massive shout out to Illuvium for coming up with that. And that is halfway done. And we've already got the 4th of July graphic that was put out by Roger. And it shows the red panda ride the first stage. And I'm keen to see the actual red panda in action in the arena. He then touches on the fact that all the music for the private beta 2 is actually done. And for anyone, again, these are the unsung heroes of Illuvium, in my opinion. I love music and I understand what it goes into it. Man, the sound engineers, the actual composers, everyone working on the back end for the sounds, incredible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the cinematic trailer, listen to the first trailer they put out. That sound quality is absolutely insane. And I just know that whatever they're doing with Private Beta 2 in terms of music and having that full audio experience, it's going to add to it a lot. The next thing here now is Elluvium Overworld. So there are some delays here too. It seems like there are delays everywhere, and that's fine. And it looks like they're addressing that by kind of hyper-focusing on certain projects and not all projects, which I'm absolutely okay with. He talks about the community widely praising the video that they leaked, and I've heard multiple times already that that's actually a pretty old video and they've already made a lot of steps after that, and that Grant isn't even happy with that video when they leaked it. So I'm excited to see, and I know from a couple of people inside the team, they're saying that the overworld that they're playing now is, we aren't ready. That's generally the sentence, the feedback that I get from them is we aren't ready. So going into the highlights, he mentions the harvestable plants. I'm not going to talk about that. The capture flow. I think this is insane and incredibly important. And even he says that here, one of the most critical parts of the game. It's the last thing that they need to finalize before releasing the overworld. And obviously it makes sense. You don't want to go into the overworld, explore, find some instances, singularities, and then not be able to catch it. It makes no sense. Like, that's going to be part of the fun, trying to go out and capture it, even if they're not NFTs per se in this beta that we test out in the alpha. Having that experience of, oh, this is what we're going to do, creating your own deck, even though they're not NFTs, would be a cool thing to do and experience. We've recently had some leaks of Mozart shooting the Shad or activating the Shad, the trap that they placed. We've had those leaks. It'll be very interesting to see how that actually comes into the real game in its final form. The next thing is pretty intriguing actually. Drone pathfinding was reworked to be smoother and more efficient. Some might not see this as necessary, but when you know what we have planned, let me highlight this. let me highlight this specifically. When you know what we have planned for later, you'll understand why Mozart had to put on his pants of agility. This is complete speculation. I know Aaron likes to give us tips and hints and leaks here and there, but hide them very, very well. I don't know. I think this is about you running away from a Leviathan. I'ma just throw it out there. I think that they've kind of had to rework him because there's going to be points where you're going to have to run away or do something, and he needs to keep up with you in a more natural way. I could be completely wrong here, but yo, you know, we're speculating out here. Let's just go. They talk about some drone attachments. That's fine. I kind of expected that. I don't really know what they're gonna be, but I did expect that. The animation, the new movement system is a massive upgrade. So we actually saw in the Overworld League the movement of the Ranger, and it was good. I'm not gonna say it was perfect. It was good, but there was definitely a lot more that had to be done. So it seems like they've started to implement stuff into it, improve it already, which I'm really, really excited about. And there are small things. I know I'm being picky, but when she stands on the steps, it doesn't look like she's actually standing on it. But I know over time these things will be worked on. So if this is what they're working on now, I'd be very, very happy with that. They're adding more animations to give the player more interest in the world. More animations, cool. I don't know exactly what they're talking about there, but fine, cool. Signature moves for alluvial capture. I think that's cool. So I think when you capture them, they'll do like the I'm not gonna do it, but they'll make their signature move when you capture them, and I think that'll be a really cool thing for you. Like if you catch the Rampire and he does that crazy roar from the Illuvitar trailer, something like that. That'd be a really cool thing to have. This is another big one. So Crystal Shores and Shad Bluff Labyrinth are almost done. So that's another 2 regions that are almost done. So it looks like they are working really, really fast, and they're completing things very quickly. Capture flow ideation is complete. Yes, we saw a leak of that a while ago, and now that it looks like that's being completed and they know exactly what the steps are, they're just making it a reality now. He goes on to House CNC and Tiger Boreal. I might butcher that name always. He says blackouts. I think that means blockouts. I think he means blockouts. Near complete. So that's great. Brightland Steps and Abyssal Basin are close to finishing the first pass of set dressing. Sanctum Mesa Town Blockout is complete. Set dressing is next. And then he touches on Illuvium 0. And essentially what he's saying is that the art overhaul has been started and they're working as quickly and as well as possible, because obviously quality is more important than speed, to get that to us. So they're working as hard as they can to get that to us as soon as they can. But again, they're not going to compromise the quality for a quick release. In the highlights, again, he mentions the art. New highs have helped the speed, but sometimes it's just a matter of things take time to perfect, and completely understandable. Mechanics, so Johnny is going to be playing a massive role in the mechanics. Apparently he played a massive role in the land sale and making sure that those systems worked well. So I think having Johnny on board working on the mechanics is a big, big thing. He then touches on the game design and says how difficult it is to actually design it so it balances out, considering there's a free version and a paid version. And I think we do take that for granted. I think that it is quite hard to try and find an economy that works for free as well as paid, because you don't want it so people can just pay and completely just skip the entire game, because where's the fun in that? But you also don't, like, it's a hard balance for them to find. So, but I have complete faith, and I know they will get it done. And the last highlight for Illuvium 0 is that the ideation for the suits and the drone blueprints went better than they expected. And obviously for anyone that has land that is looking for blueprints, man, we are excited. We've already seen some of the leaks regarding the suits. I'm going to put them up on the screen right now, and they just look amazing. Like the idea of going and having that land and trying to get these blueprints and put them on your ranger in the overworld, in the arena, it's going to be so crazy. The ability to customize it to the way that you want. The fact that you need to burn alluvials to even get this, increasing their scarcity. It's just, it feels like it's another collectible game inside of already what is looking to look like an incredible collectible game. With the Illuvitex, they mentioned that they've added some features in preparation for Illuvitars and quality of life upgrades, but nothing too much here. Transfer to other wallets, that's a really cool thing to have. If you're buying on a burner wallet, you can transfer it to another wallet, just something like that. Now the next big thing, Illuvitars. So it seems now that the primary focus of the web team now lies here, which I'm glad about, because I know people have started to buy Silv 2 for Illuvitars. They're prepping for it. We got the trailer for it. So it's very clear that the excitement is now on the Illuvitars. So they're saying that they want to implement this sale as smoothly as possible, just like the land sale, and it makes sense. The land sale was a great success. I can't see them butchering this. It makes sense that they're going to do a really good job here as well. He mentioned something about the value added by the album and collections feature. I don't think they've really kind of explained that to us. So it'll be cool to see what that is when we find out about it. So going into the highlights here, he mentions that the major infrastructure to run the sale is complete. I imagined it to be so. It seems like they were already pretty close to running the sale. So it makes sense that the infrastructure is complete. The bonding workflow is well underway, and we use the same bonding flow for most of the game. So getting this done kills two birds with one stone. I'm assuming when he says bonding, it means putting, again, like the hat to the Illuvitar or the eyes or the skin, whatever it is, that bonding workflow. So I'm going to assume that's the system that they're talking about. The next thing is massive. The Illuvitar reveal animation improvements are underway. And I think that's going to be a super slept on part of the Illuvitar sale, the Illuvitar experience that no one's really thought about or talking about, at least that I'm seeing. The fact is that dopamine hit when you click on it or open it and it shows you like a spinning thing or like the flashes and the bangs, the sparkles, the confetti, whatever it is. I think having that designed really well is going to add a whole heap to the experience, especially as a content creator. If I'm opening a whole bunch of them on stream or in videos, it'd be really cool if it looked really nice, right? I'm sure that the viewers are going to like it. It makes me want to open another one and another one. And it just keeps that feeling going. So I think trying to get that to its peak, trying to get that to just a really good level is a really good thing. And I really hope they spend a bit more time on that to make sure they absolutely kill it. Again, he mentioned something about album and collections with leaderboards. If they make a thing where it's just who has the most is on the leaderboard, that's just going to be absurd. I definitely will not be close to that. I am not made of money like that. I'll try to get a few of them, but that would be wild. If that happens, yeah, we'll flip. Imagine seeing someone with like the whole collection, the 25 Illuvitars with all three expressions. Like, that's just nuts, man. That's insane. The launch cinematic, I'm not going to touch on really. It's a long-term project, and they're going to give us more updates later anyway, so I'm not too stressed out about that. All right, so going into some general updates. For the story, they've got 2 new writers, one for narratives and one for bios. I'm actually more interested in the one for bios. I think the little things that they have in the Illuvidex, the bios that they're going to have for each Illuvial is going to be super interesting. A little bit of their backstory or why they are the way they are, the characteristics. I'm excited for that. This one right here, reworked for some more prominent story points for Chapter 3. Aaron wants a love story. Will he get it? Tune in next month for more Tales of Illuvium. I am betting that he will. Aaron is going to do anything he can to make that love story. Is he going to go for a Romeo Juliet type vibe, a Titanic vibe? Who knows, but Aaron's going to make something happen. And the final thing that he touches on is the infrastructure, and he just mentions that he's super proud of them. He knows that they're not perfect. They're constantly developing. They're getting better, and it takes time. Again, they are a new company, and they are going to have some hiccups, some things that things happen, and it's not about not facing any obstacles. It's about how you deal with those obstacles. And from everything that I've seen, I'm still super bullish on the team. I won't even say the project, on the team, the founders, the team. I think they're exceptional, and I'm very excited to see what they do over time. For the summary, he touches on that they're behind where they wanted to be for sure, and I think we all kind of realize that. And he also mentions that they're not going to be giving us dates, but this is huge. He's going to provide a rough, again, this could change, a rough order of release. And this is so exciting. PB2, I think people are sleeping on this. PB2, the arena, is coming before Illuvitars. So the thing that we're talking about with interest for mastery points, for augments, for bonding, if anyone's missed it, Aaron's mentioned that there's going to be 100 new Illuvials in Private Beta 2. So the fact that we're going to get that before Illuvitars, to me, is the most exciting thing of this entire devlog. I just honestly can't believe that we're going to get that. It's going to start to feel like a full game. I wish that they're going to have PvP. I understand if they don't, nothing was mentioned here, and it might come in maybe a later iteration of the Private Beta 2, Private Beta 3, I don't know what they're going to call it. But having that 100 Illuvials in the game, being able to bond, is just going to create an incredible amount of complexity. and replayability. And the checkpoints means I'm not going to have to waste 30 minutes just to get back to where I was. And I'm actually going to be able to stream and have a good time and do that. So I'm looking forward to that. So private beta 2 is probably the first thing. Again, none of this is set in stone, but private beta 2 is probably the first thing that we can expect. Then we have Illuvitars, then Overworld, and Illuvium Zero Alpha. If I'm not mistaken, Aaron also mentioned that Overworld and Zero Alpha could swap around, just depending. And then the game loader, it needs a name. I want singularity. Yep, it is what it is. He forgot the closing bracket. Sorry, Aaron. And then he mentions other things about the DAO dashboard, the content gallery, new website, maybe the Forge if that gets passed. And the most important thing that he mentions is that we can move on to the project's entire purpose. And I agree with him 100%. Hearts ablaze. We need that dating simulator ASAP. Is Ramfy going to get with Atlas? That is what I want to know. And who is going to link up with TNT? These are the questions we need answered, Aaron, in the next devlog. Anyway, guys, that's it for the June devlog. Let me know what you guys think. What are you most excited for? For me, it's private beta 2. I'm so excited for the increased complexity of the game, all the things that are coming, and then the next thing is Illuvitars for sure. So it's private beta 2, then Illuvitars for me. Overworld, I'm not as excited because I know it's still going to be a bit of time. But definitely those first two things that we're going to be expecting soon, I am on it. But let me know down below in the comments, what is it that you're super excited for? What do you wish could come sooner in the timeline, even though it probably won't? Just wishful thinking. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you like this type of content, as always, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.